Hey, soul survivors, Cynthia Shelley here. So, yeah, a little bit late, kind of a rough day. I had a ton of kindergartners today. So, feel free to join in. We're going to talk about narcissistic parents and if they love their children. So, sorry for being late. Not feeling the best, and also just super, super tired after today. I often refer to narcissists as the children, and it is that mental state, and it can be quite exhausting. Today was extremely exhausting for me dealing with all those kindergartners. Um, they don't follow directions, they do their own thing, and they tell on each other. They see what somebody else does wrong, but they don't see what they do wrong. It's same with a narcissist. So I see somebody has joined, giving me that thumbs up. That definitely helps with the algorithm. But yeah, a little bit of a rough day today. Still not feeling the best, but feel free to join in. And it is John. John. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. Dog Defender will be on here soon. So sorry I'm late. I took a nap, so I look a little bit rough. Feel a little bit rough. It was a hard day today. Three kindergarten classes. So, John, how was your day? What's going on? Feel free to let us know if you want to fill us in on any of your stuff that's been going on. You've had it pretty rough lately. But I was pretty empowered by one of the videos that I had done as far as oh, there's Kalibi. Sorry I'm late. I just woke up. I probably look like it. So yes, Kalibi, good evening. So it was a rough day. We're going to talk about narcissistic parents. Do they love their children? I don't know if you guys have struggled. Thank you. I wish I was allowed to be late another hour and a half. I'm not ready to be awake, but thank you. Yeah, still not feeling the best, and it's kind of a hard day. But you know, uh, it's so interesting. The kids I deal with at school, and then also what a narcissist really is. Do they truly love each other? John says, "You're not going to believe this. One The hospital only kept the tenant in for a few days, and he showed up today trying to get in his apartment, but it's locked off and the lock was changed. Go figure." Did he have all his stuff in there? Because I mean, he's got some stuff going on, but sometimes people do want their stuff. They don't realize the actions of the outcome because of their actions. So he probably just didn't take his stuff thinking it all work out. But the maintenance crew tossed it all out. That guy's gonna freak out. And that's the thing, is like he was probably warned and didn't take heed to those warnings. They feel that things are gonna work out. They don't, there's times that you gotta realize you screwed up, or even if life fucks you over. But there's probably a warning and he just didn't uh take it, just like kids. He was supposed to be out last July. That's the thing, they will, play it to the last minute, and he had enough time to get his stuff out, and then he's probably gonna be all pissed off thinking the world's against him. Thank you for sharing that, John. Kalibi says, "That's what I've been noticing on the 2 narcs down the hall. I have not seen his son this past holidays." Yeah, a lot of times. I do wanna talk about that a little deeper. In my opinion, and you guys might not agree, this is just what I've been seeing. Is my opinion is we're going through a generational gap, and it's affecting relationships. There are like right now, the people we're dealing with now are all into the equality. Everything's the same. You don't necessarily have to earn it. You just get it. They had something on this scholarship thing, that the scholarship notification, the merit award, wasn't sent out to the people who earned it. And they think it's because, they don't want to upset the people who didn't earn it. So it affected the hard workers. And, they're all concerned about the kids who didn't earn it, feeling that they're not worthy. And, we're in this different stage. I know it's so weird when I do talk crankily to the kids, because I was cranky today. It's just overwhelming. But they listen. They do listen. And if you do all the little coddling, like, so and so's on task, sometimes it works. Like if the kids are more emotionally available, they will react to that. But when they're just in me stage, they don't really react to it. They react to you being a bitch. And I hate being like that. Other teachers I've talked with too are like, we've had it. And I don't like being that way. But that's when they react. That's when they're good. It is exerting power. You need to be friends, or you want to be friends with them. You want to be cool with them, not necessarily even friends, just cool. And they lose their freaking minds. Today I did a scissor and glue project in art class, and they're all excited about it, and it's like overstimulation or something that, as soon as they got their project done, they did these owls and they're flying around the class, and then they start climbing on things and crawling under things. They lose their minds. And with our narcissists, it is so similar. I wish you guys could spend a day with me, that I see narcissists all day. Um, they're kids, they're still growing, they're still learning. Dog says, "Hey, the phone and another ringtone." I love you guys. You're a behaviorist. I hate it that they are trained that way. I don't really know. I don't really know what to think yet. I'm still in my process, because there is this technique that we learned in professional development. And at first I'm like, this is bullshit. Yep, yep, yep. I'm just sitting here like, when is lunch? And then I'm like, all right, I'll try it. It does work. It is like a magic trick when you're like, Katie's on task, Melissa's on page 34, John is on sitting quietly, and other kids will fall into place. They want to hear their name called. And it's not that you're necessarily praising them, but you're acknowledging them. Everybody needs to be acknowledged. And it does work. Today, it did not work. And then what do you resort to? You're sitting there, and it's almost like I don't even have a teachable moment who is sitting on task, who is doing what they're supposed to do. It's real hard in art class too. I deal with over 600 kids a week, and it's really hard to remember all of their names. Some of them look similar, and it's hard. Some, brothers, sisters too, like which one's which. It's easier when you know their name. That's why it's interesting too how utilizing somebody's name in conversation makes a difference, especially in sales. Dog says little kids are not narcissists like adult narcissists. I sit quietly and put their behavior on extinction when I can. I agree with that. They are not narcissists. They say like the biggest narcissist in the world is a 2-year-old. And that's as far as having needs and wanting their needs met, not thinking about the outside world when it comes to talking about kids. So yeah, kindergartners are not that far off from a 2-year-old, but they have needs. Oh my God, do they have needs? And you have to figure a balance that doesn't mess them up, acknowledges them, but also teaches them societal restrictions. And there's times, you try to address each one, but when you have a class full of 30 kids and they are all so needy, I show a lot of love, but the ones that stay on task, like for me, is really nice. But you wonder, where did these needs come from? Why are they so needy? Um, that they can't function without constant reinforcement. There's some kids that are so beautiful, so wonderful, like the perfect child, and others that are wild. Where does that come from? Mia, hello, good evening to everyone. Good to have you here. Kalibi says you just got new apps to stop the stalking. I hope it works. It's a GPS jammer called Black. Ooh, tell me more about that. So Mia saying hi to everybody. Dog Defender says, I love the littles. They are my people. There are ways you have to have in your arsenal. I've been there. Yeah, today was not a good day. It was Just too many kindergartners back to back. I love them. They are so sweet, and I'd adopt any of them, but when there's 30 of them, thank you guys for those thumbs up. It can be overwhelming. Like today, you guys know I already don't feel the best, and Mia says, "Good to you. Enjoyed last live. Wasn't gonna miss this one. Thank you." And I know I overslept today. Today was not a good day for me. I definitely needed that nap. I didn't realize how much I needed it. Mia says hello to Dog Defender. But Kalibi says it's supposed to block any kind of tracking. It jams up any car tracking device. That's what's nice is to have some weapon against what could be done, because there are certain things that we don't know could be happening to us right now. Tracking on our cars or phones or household bathrooms, public bathrooms, different things. So yeah, we have to protect ourselves. Dog says wild kids are usually ignored, constantly caught up in parent life drama. They are like accessories in too many families to count. And that's exactly what I'm starting to see is the ones that are like they're perfect children. They have their needs met. They have their needs met. They don't need me to sit there and tell them they're beautiful or wonderful or whatever. There's so many stories they want to share. And it's hard being a teacher because you do need to maintain order, but you still want to be there for your kids. But 30 at a time, and especially the littles, when the littles walk into your classroom, they're like, but, I have to tell you this. And it's almost like they're talking about anything. Some will say something like, I'm going to Disneyland this weekend, or my grandma, whatever, came over last night. And I get it. That's something they're experiencing right now. But some of the stories are like, you just want to talk. I have this one kid who he's got some delay. I don't know exactly what's going on with him. There's probably I'm trying to figure it out. His sister's not that bad. Um, I think he has a learning disability, but I don't know what goes on further than that. But he is such a liar. He is such a liar. He is so wild. He stepped on a kid's hand today, really hurt the kid, had to get ice. And Dog Defender says 3 people need to hit that thumbs up, please. Ooh, only 2 now. So Dog Defender, thank you so much. Yeah, honestly, the quicker you guys do those thumbs up, the better it is. I got some good news for you guys. I had my cousin or nephew who I told you comes from a really good Christian family, and it kind of surprised me that his thesis is on psychedelics, which can be used for mental illness, altering the mental state. And I'm going to do a podcast with him, probably a live chat. So I got to figure out how to do that and record it and get it to you guys. I'm not necessarily endorsing it. I never really endorsed weed, but I know marijuana really helps some people with pain and calming the brain. So I want to kind of look more into that and see what he has to say about that. So Dog Defender, thanks so much for being my support or my cheerleader. So there's a certain need that we have, and I agree. I agree. There's probably some kids that are lost as far as, do the parents work too much, or maybe they are great parents, but they got separated so the child doesn't have what they need. But I am starting to notice the children are being raised by a different generation than what they're in. When I grew up, somewhere along high school times, they had that tough love thing. It was basically tell your kid this or kick on the frick out. And I don't necessarily think that was effective. That depends on the kid. And it's usually like the ones that need it more are the ones that are going to get kicked out, and they're going to live a street life, wrapped up in drugs, sleeping around, selling themselves for money. Dog Defender says they should be done with trained therapists that understand this, or we are going to have a lot of severe mental health issues. Don't you think they are? Yeah, and that's what, like, oh, it makes me mad. I sit there and um we got this new gender identity thing that's really starting to affect the world. We do have a gender neutral bathroom. And also, everybody needs to be treated equally. Well, if we're treated equally, what's our motivation to do something? So there's a misconception, just like there's a misconception on gender, and I don't really want to go there, but I did read the definition on gender, and it is like, what do you identify as, basically? Um, but sex is what sex is, a biological sex. So I can see where there's this mix up on things, and feminine versus masculine, psychedelic, Cynthia, not the world going to be HELL, hockey sticks, not the world going to hell. Um, so what do you guys think about the psychedelics? Uh, your dad was good to you. He passed away in 2010. Yeah, and it's sad when we lose people who are our supports. But as far I've done that too. I'll walk down the aisle without my dad if that day ever comes. But the kids are treated as equal, so they don't feel that they have to achieve. It was not like that when I was growing up. You had to achieve. We did have some like my eighth grade basketball plaque. I still remember it was victory is sweet when you taste defeat, because we were losers. We won one game. I got one 3-pointer the entire season. No other baskets, just one 3-pointer. But we still got this. And that's the thing, like, words are meant to be kind. Like, I'm sure he meant to be kind, but victory is sweet when you taste defeat. Like, dude, we were losers. But thanks for the black. That was kind that they did that. But we get to the point where everybody gets trophies. Everybody gets a pass. Like, even in school, we're passing kids that shouldn't be passed. And we're keeping them at grade level, but they're not at grade level. So that causes stress and behavior things. Um, Dog Defender says, that's awesome, John. Not everyone is blessed with an amazing parent. John says, my mom basically is a jerk. I grew up with an alcoholic mom. She drove us nuts. Yeah, with drugs and alcohol, you're never going to see who the person truly is. You're going to see this facade. You're going to see an altered state of mind. And Calibri says, I dearly miss my parents. They imparted to me honesty, accountability, aim to be a good person. So a lot of us were blessed, and I'm starting to wonder about this generation. We all make mistakes. We are all faulted in some ways, but with everything that's going on with the need for support animals, and everybody being equal, and um, making choices instead of being told what to do. I see some good to all that, but it's also some craziness that's going to come from it. Dog says, that's sad for you, and also for her. That's a hard life. People usually turn to drug and alcohol because they are in pain. Exactly. Um, yeah. It's easier to get addicted to because you want to escape. And once they do escape, they might function in their world for a while, but they're not dealing with the issue. They're not dealing with the people in reality. Kalibi says, I've been noticing the younger generations lack etiquette, no respect at all to old people. Yeah, old people are ugly and stupid and um out of touch. Like, for most generations, where old people are always out of touch, but there's still some respect. There's really not that much respect. Um, Dog Defender says, right, escaping is their survival. They got a lot going on, and I think we got a little bit of a taste of what they are going through with the CPTSD that we're going through. John says, I started drinking and drugging in late high school and had problems growing up, but I came out the other end. And that's the thing, like, during high school, you see a lot of that. Either you do it for friends, you want to be the popular kid, you want to be accepted, or there's a lot of emotions going on during high school, also junior high, depends on when you go through puberty, that um, it's a lot. There's a lot of scary things too, especially when you don't know what to expect. So thank you for those thumbs up. But I've noticed how many kids hate their parents. I did a look up on it. I'll have to redo it. There's my mom and sister chatting. I pull up my phone. I came from a pretty good family, but it's sad how much my dad had to work. I wish he didn't have to work so much. He was a great guy. Uh, that was going on when I was young. I have always loved elderly people and would volunteer. Lots of people made fun of me and said elderly would grow, so I was mortified. And Lily is there. You fell asleep on the couch. I fell asleep too, so I was a little bit late. So thanks for joining us. Yes. John says my girlfriend volunteered at nursing homes most of her life. And Kalibi says, I guess I still consider myself square. I don't drink nor do heavy drugs. I'm glad I didn't develop any of those. That's why narcs don't like me. That's why narcs are attracted to you. They do like you, dude. Do you have any tattoos? I don't have any tattoos. Okay, so percent of kids that hate their parents because there's something going on. Oops, not partner, parents. Because there are a lot of crappy parents out there. Okay, well, this is okay, so kids start to hate their parents. So Lily, lots of love to you. And yeah, we are really lucky. So kids start to hate their parents when they try to force their children in every aspect. That's kind of a narcissistic thing. See, this is a 16-year-old. I'm 16. My parents are actually really horrible, and I hate living in this house despite my parents being actually somewhat really good. I really hate them. Is this wrong? I'm only 13, but I hate living at my house, and I hate my parents and my brother, and I wish I was dead. That kid even said they wished they weren't together. Why do so many children hate their step parents? There's a lot of stuff going on. Helicopter parents where they hoover over. Dog Defender says, Kalibi, that is not a reason for people to not like you as an adult. You don't want narcs to like you. You want to be far, far away from them. Yeah, so it's nice. Like, don't worry about that. But they are drawn to you. You see that at your apartment complex. Calibri says, that's why I'm keeping my square badge. Yeah, it's hip to be square. Little, is that Huey Lewis? Yeah, hip to be square. But there are bad parents, and there are different perceptions. And John says, my mother stole stuff from me and my girlfriend. We had found valuable Indian artifacts years ago, and my mother got her hands on them and refused to return them to us. Did she give you a reason? Did she just, I really like them, or you let me borrow them? Yeah, when people just take things, it can be quite hurtful. It's like stolen. Why are you stealing from me? And you can't trust them to have them over at your house. But I see there are some good parents that really try, but we're in a day and age where it's like one and done. You mess up, you're done. Everybody's all about this. And we do need our boundaries. We definitely do need our boundaries. But this is what scares me is we have faux pas to kind of help learn from each other how to guide healthy relationships. Each relationship's going to be different. And they say if they don't respect your boundaries, just toss them out. But it's just like the kids at school, you know, they cross the line. You can't just get rid of them all the time. lesson learned, but did we do anything with the lesson? So there's a lot of discarding going on instead of growing. It's easier to discard than to grow. There are some narcissistic parents that, you should get rid of, that are always gonna discard you, but as humans, I believe the parents, they have certain needs too. There's certain things that the kids don't understand, whether they had to work extra or the stressors where they had a lot on their mind and they needed a little downtime too. Life isn't perfect. If it was perfect, it could all fall into place. But um, I you see it across the board. My ex was a narcissist. Were they really a narcissist or did they just not like you? There's a difference. Um, or is there something that you did? Dog says kids hating their parents take as old as time. Many are influenced by society and whatever is cool with their friends. The internet, a place to get attention. I'm feeling kids are definitely confused. Now we're adding the gender stuff. Um, you know, and also the confusion between how us teachers are teaching them than how their parents. So I'm a little bit older. I'm a grandmother, but you know, um, the sternness versus the everybody's equal. At school we try to stay with the times, and like I said, we have a support dog at school, and we have a timeout place, and we have to have something that functions to allow the school to continue. And we deal with so many different kids, that there has to be some kind of safeness, but it's so different than the school I grew up in. Dog says, Kalibi, I know a lot of straight narcs. They come in all forms. Yep. It's definitely not gender specific or sexual preference specific. And John says, so true, dog defender. It is very true. John says they were worth money. She stole money from my dad. And how did she grow up, John? Did she grow up poor? Um, Usually the things we do, whether we're hoarders or emotional wrecks, I don't know. It's so interesting how much of it does go back to our childhood. And I just see so many kids hating their parents. Is it that they hate their parents? Are their parents necessarily doing something wrong? Are their parents setting boundaries and telling them how to act? You see narcs every day. Are your parents still alive? I'm confused on what you're saying, John. But yeah, as far as narcissistic, like true NPD families, I'm gonna talk a little bit longer. I'm not gonna keep it too long. My throat's really bugging me. Kids at school, I think, are getting me sick. But the narcissistic parents is somebody with actual NPD or different kinds of mental illness. Those kids are going to go through a state of need, and they're going to start resenting their parents. They're going to act out because they have that inherent need to be loved or acknowledged. Sometimes the stressors of food insecurity, or not feeling safe, that it's going to affect them in adulthood. And you know when you see the kids that have parents that aren't attending to their needs, they're also not willing to change. They're not willing to stop and think. So when they're going through all this stuff, and sometimes too, we go through it too when we're in our CPTSD. When somebody with a mental illness is going through a stressor, they're stuck in that stressor, and it's almost like the outside world doesn't matter. So the way a narcissist or somebody with mental illness, narcissists are different, but the way they love their children is almost like they shell them. they shelve them and take them off when they need them. That they'll attend to their needs when they can, or if they desire to, if they want to show the child off. But they're so caught up in what their own needs are that it's not going to feel loving to the child. It's self-centered. And Lily says, don't know how or where to start with my mom. She was a great single parent, teaching me and two older sisters good morals. Empathetic but narc at the same time. Critical, a screamer, everything I'm not. And that's kind of where I'm going with this today, Lily, is our parents are humans, and there are crappy parents out there that put cigarettes out on their child, lock them in a closet, sexually abuse them, or sell them, or utilize them for things, or push them to be a cheerleader because they wanted to be a cheerleader and they want to live vicariously through them. Um, but, you know, parents get frustrated too. There's something that triggered your mom. Were you two sisters, three sisters arguing? Um, did she not know how to get you guys to stop? There are frustrations. Is that necessarily a narc? I don't think so. I think it's a human who gets pushed to their limits. And the other thing too is, your mom was supposed to be the one in charge, and the girls took over. They, changed the roles, and she's trying to probably maintain that dominance, but you guys aren't falling into place, and then it's super frustrating. Um, so John says, my mom was well off as a kid, and yeah, sometimes they just want to be a child. John says my grandparents owned a local gas station back then. Oh, how cool. Um, but yeah, the critical might have been something she grew up with. What were your grandparents like? Were they critical of her? They're not always going to be critical of the grandkids either. There's double standards, and it's different. Some people will treat their children a certain way, and grandkids are different. Kalibi says, my parents knew that I was different. Now I appreciate that they've respected me when I was growing up, not that they encouraged me. Yeah, there's a lot of parents who will probably accept your situation, maybe not encourage it, but still love you for who you are. When did they start suspecting that you're a little bit different? Because that's probably got to be really hard. And, you know, I do wonder about that because I'm completely heterosexual, 1000%. I think women are prettier than men. Sorry, guys. Um, there are some guys that are really good looking, but in general, overall, I think a higher percentage of females are better looking. I'm not attracted to women, but appreciate their beauty. I could be wrong, but we also have all those enhancements, like high heels and makeup and curling irons and all that kind of stuff too. Kalibi says Lily, judgmental, and my sisters are just like her. Everything was a production, but I wouldn't be who I am without her. So I'm grateful, but always found it hard to pick cards like a birthday card for her. Yeah, I love you. Thanks for screaming at me. No, that doesn't work. You're the sweetest mother most of the time. I get it, Lily. Aw. John says, oh, one time my grandmother gave me $600 for my 18th. 600? Holy smokes, for my 18th birthday. And my mother tried to get me to give it to her. We had a big fight that night. Yeah, and that's the thing. When you're 18, that is you breaking into adulthood. Back then, $600 could have gotten you a junker, but it still could have gotten you a car at that time. I don't know about taxes and insurance, but that's a big deal. It's probably, I don't even know, $3,000 or something equivalents. Um, so yeah, why does the mother, and they'll do that too. A gift to you, they take it. We have electric. Um, you know, depends on the desperation mode, because our parents did give us a lot. Um, and some parents really struggle. But in desperation mode, you're just like, I just need to get the electric paid. But that's your gift. They have to remember that is your gift. It's not up to you to. That's where the difference between a husband and a child is. The child shouldn't be obligated. Um, but I don't know. I know there's some families that my lips are all chapped. That you're in survival mode. We have to go into survival mode together, where somebody's got to get paper out, somebody's got to get a fast food restaurant thing. That's when families come together. It builds character, but that's why it's so frustrating with all the stresses we go through. Lily says judgmental, and my sisters are just like her. Everything was a production, but I wouldn't be who I am. Yep. And Cleve says I came out to my parents Christmas Eve, 1975, in our kitchen in Brooklyn. They told me they knew. They just didn't want to hurt me. And when they say they just didn't want to hurt you, what does that mean? Does they just don't want to hurt me? Tell me a little bit more on that. To tell you to change, or what do they mean by they don't want to hurt you? I'm assuming they're against it, but they love you, so they will accept it. Um, what made you choose Christmas? That's interesting. And because, in a sense, it's not necessarily a gift to them. You're their gift, but was it just being together, being in person? Lily says, mixed bag of feelings. Yes, my grandmother was mean to her and she emulated her. Very confusing, but I have no mommy issues. And I think you have no mommy issues because you saw the good and the bad. You saw the good and took that, and you saw the bad. And, I think your mom wasn't being fake. She was being her. She had her frustrations. She tried her best. And it can be confusing because it's different, you know. John says, my first car was an El Camino. Very cool. Kaliwi says, hurt me in a way that they don't want to be ashamed of me. They are very protective. And okay. Yeah. Sometimes it kind of throws a wrench in everything when whether it's because of religious views or their beliefs or their desires that and society can be really hard. Kalibi, I don't know how old you are. This generation, like your 30s or so, have a little bit easier. My generation and the generation before me, it was illegal, or two generations before me. Lily says, Brooklyn, Calibri, did you grow up in New York? My family's from Brooklyn, but my parents moved to Miami, Florida, where I grew up. Calibri says, my dad was very accepting as compared to my mom, who introduced me to a single mom in the neighborhood. You went on a date with her. What was that like? You're in your late 60s. So as a man who, uh, you're not bi, right? You're just straight up gay. Uh, what was that like having to live that facade? Because I would be miserable if I had to date women to uphold a facade. I would hate it. Now, granted, it's fun hanging out with girls, but I wouldn't want that as the way people. No, you haven't met me yet. I could change you. Kaliba, yeah, totally gay. No offense to women here. And hmm, can I ask you something? Because I'd like, and this is made out of respect. Is I had said Kalibi, and if you're not comfortable, you don't have to talk about it. Like, I'm straight up heterosexual. And I always said, I think about it that, is this something the way I was grown, the way how much is instinctual? Because if I was a female put on a desert island with only women and all you could see was women, knew nothing about men, and, you know, them having sexual interactions and relationships, would I be different? I honestly don't know. Um, and then you're introduced to a man, would I change? And I make you laugh. He hasn't met me yet. um, where was I going with that? But you know, um, do you think it's from birth? Did you feel it from birth, or just something uh change? And yeah, do you have any kids, Calibri? There are um I just had a dance teacher. She just had twins. Her and her woman had twins. And it's kind of like, dang, that's not fair. I want twins. They do that in vitro fertilization. You knew you were, and how was that though? Like, that must have been miserable. You had a handsome store owner crush. Oh, I wanted to tell you, it's so cute today. Like, you know how you see the little, like, you see the little glimmer in their eyes and the little crush, and they light up and they're like, I really like I really like Chuck E. Cheese. Like, this one girl has a crush on the Chuck E. Cheese character. she, you could see that glimmer of true love, that glimmer in her eyes, and she is in love with Chuck E. Cheese, and she wants to kiss him, and she wants to marry him and have his babies. And I was joking with her. I'm like, well, what happens if you have mouse babies? And she's like, well, I'm the mother, and it'll be human. And I'm like, whoa, we weren't supposed to go that deep. It was supposed to, but yeah, she's got a full-fledged crush on Chuck E. Cheese, and he's just so fluffy around his ears and his eyes. Yeah. So I know my daughter, when she was growing up, they had uh, Alvin and the Chipmunks. I think you guys know who Alvin and the Chipmunks are, but she was like telling me like, Elvis is so cute. Elvis is so cute. And I'm like, yeah, you go, girl. Back in the day, Elvis was pretty hot. And then all of a sudden I hear, Mom, come here. There he is. There he is. There he is. And I'm like, that's Elvin. My daughter had a crush on Elvin the Chipmunk, not Elvis, the singer. But yeah, falling in love with Chuck E. Cheese. Kalibi says no kids, Lily, but I have a very loving kitty who I adore. And yeah, sometimes people adopt their children as pets. John says my hamster has an Elvin doll she plays with, and it's so cute. There he is. There he is. Like, yeah, there he is. I love him. So, uh, but there are definitely abusive parents that are there. And Kalibi says I stayed late in his store till closing time and waited for him to change down to his skivvies. Ooh, so how did you and this is something interesting. So why did he have to change into his skivvies from the store? Why were you there when he did that? Do you think it was sexually appropriate what he did, and then did that alter you? Just, and I don't mean it as disrespect. It's just I'm trying to understand homosexuality. I don't judge people on it. I'm just trying to understand it. Is it genetical, or is it something they're born with, or is it something in their life? It's usually hot in Manila where I grew up. Men change to their shorts by nighttime. Okay. Okay. Dog Defender says, I have a family member and many members that are homosexual, and I hate the judgment and the horror they face. And that's the thing. Like, I won't judge people. on it. I don't want to do it. I don't understand it. I think as far as like women, I can see women having the best time hanging out. I don't understand the sex part. But I also think it would be horrible. Two women together. When it's good, it would be good. When it's bad, it would be horrible. I just don't understand the sex thing. But that is what it is. Yes, Manila in the Philippines, I think so. Dog says, I believe they are born that way. And yeah, and that's why I brought up if I was put on uh, an island where there's only women. Would I be like, nope, sorry, I'm heterosexual. Nope, sorry, I'm heterosexual. Or would I fall into it? Is there something to nurture versus nature? And I'm not judging. I'm really trying to understand. So you grew up there. Oh my gosh. Kalibi says that's where my values are somewhat different than a regular American. That's why. Yeah. Americans are different than the Philippines. You're right. My first boyfriend was Filipino. We dated May 6th to May 26, 1980. I'm still traumatized. John says 20 days, and that's sad. John says my neighbor friend is transgender. I treat her good, but all others call her names, evil names. And Lily wants to know what brought you here to New York. Um, so uh wait, are you in Philippines now? Or you're in I think you're in um Calibre, where'd you grow up? I'm confused. um, so that's the thing. We all just want to be ourselves, whether we're gay, transgender, heterosexual, um, popular, unpopular. We just want to be us. And there's so much judgment in this world on different perceptions that, you got to conform to society and you got to be fluid with society. And the rules are ever changing that it's hard on so many people. Cleve says, however, I'm very grateful to America for giving me these life opportunities when I signed the dotted line during my citizenship. I respect America. Good for you, Kalibi. That is awesome. You first migrated to New York in the 70s, where my parents and siblings live. Hmm. So you've been here. You were like 10 or so when you came over, 10, 15. That has to be miserable. Just like um, anybody who's different, they often get ridiculed. So there is a higher percentage of people now in the LGBTQ uh, late teens. Yep. And that was probably better that you were through most of your teens. Uh, that's got to be a hard transition. Did you speak, was it Spanish? Did you speak Filipino? Leila says, gotcha. Um, you know, it gets scary feeling like you're going to get lost in the crowd. And sometimes people overcompensate by standing out in the crowd. But as far as today's topic, I do need to address that a little bit, though. There are some narcissists, there, and it gets tricky because there's different on the spectrum. There's a different spectrum, and some parents that have MPD might be a little more empathetic, depending on how great their need is for themselves, how uh, the child aligns with the parent. So if the parent needs the kid to be a cheerleader and they just naturally want to be one, that works out. But not all kids want that, and uh, the parent is so caught up in whatever they need that they're not seeing their kids' needs. And same with different kinds of mental illnesses. When you're depressed or full of anxiety, or you have schizophrenia, bipolar, borderline, whatever you got going on, you go through cycles in desperation. And during that desperation, the children suffer. Um, is it intentional? It's not always intentional. Sometimes it's pre-planned, sometimes it's vindictive, sometimes they're pissed at the ex, so they'll use the kid. Other times they're just caught up in what they're going through, that they don't even think of the damage that they're doing to the kid. And also maybe poor parenting skills, that the kid becomes uh, needy and also wanting the parent not to be human, to where the parent has to be perfect. And that's why, if you have a good relationship, the child doesn't need to see you as perfect. They see you as a human, just like, the parent would see you as a human instead of an object. Um, Pain, hurt people hurt people. And Kalibi says, "Ooh, he was very handsome. And do what you want to do, but let me get married first before you steal all the guys." I told my mom, I was joking with her. I said, "Mom, if you ever see me in a lesbian gay pride march, it's because I want to, uh, you know, the girls, they can date the girls. So there's more guys for me." So I said, if I'm ever in a gay pride, it's just so I can have more guys. Dog says, "I was going to ask you something yesterday. I know you are not feeling well. I will ask you." No, ask me. Oh, doggy, tell me. What do you want to ask me? Yeah, I'm not feeling well. Probably look at today. I feel rough. No, ask me today. Ask me today. Kalibi says, "I've never felt left out when I was growing up with my siblings." And that's good. That's good. You had a good family. And they recognized it. Did they try to overcompensate it though? Like, we're going to football practice, or did they ask you, what sport do you want to play? Did they try to guard you? I don't know if I missed it, if you said it. Dog, how was your upbringing? Um, Kalibi says, "Of course, I remember his name, David. What a handsome guy." Have you ever tried dating Chuck E. Cheese? It's still so cute how the kid, she's completely in love, like with Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, you just see her face with that that crush kind of look on it. It's just butterflies and everything. And then what was it? She came up to me too, and she was like, "So and so said he likes this girl better," and she was all upset. And I'm like, "Yeah, but you got Chuck E. Cheese." And she's like, "Oh, yeah." It settled her down. Kalibi says, "Oh, they didn't force me to play sports. They know." Okay, that's good. It sounds like you have good parents. That's probably, my lips are chapping, guys. Um, that's good. Even if it's not necessarily what they pictured for their children, sometimes we picture our kid as a doctor or having 16 kids or whatever it is. I had a friend who I'm sorry, her daughter ended up becoming lesbian. And, she had a hard time with it at first. And uh, I was more in shock. She didn't belittle her daughter, but it was like, whoa, this is my daughter. Like, she was pretty accepting on the outside world. It's like, do what you got to do. But when it hit home, sometimes we have a picture of, possibly our daughter being pregnant and walking her down the aisle, or vice versa, what guys do, that we had to put our needs aside, and so it was really sweet how she came to grips with it and apologized. And you know, um, you know, that's love, when you can put your needs aside. Uh, but there's also that where, we have to survive. There's certain things that we have to take care of ourselves about. If we're constantly giving, we're gonna die ourselves, suffocate. John says, "I know my family always treated me like I didn't know anything except my dad." Oh, that's hard, John. Really? And they say, like, you had your dad, and that's fantastic. You just need one person who truly loves you and is your support and role model. So that's why you turned out to be such a sweet person. be careful in your aspect, not to be a people pleaser. Sometimes we can tend to do that too. Uh, you have such a kind soul, John. A really unique, special person. And I hate hearing like you were assaulted physically. What started that? If you're not comfortable telling me, it was somebody at the apartment complex. I don't understand how so many physical fights start. And yeah, Lily's glad you had a good dad too. Dog defender, tell me what you want to ask me. um, he'll ask me tomorrow. Oh my gosh. So, LOL, overall good. But dog says, but there are many layers to it. I was born with my own mind, which is exactly what I needed. I was raised by professional parents who both worked great jobs and were happy together. And you do seem like you have good insight on things, dog defender. And John says, what started this crap is my complex, was that girl. Oh, that's even worse. Yeah. Um, that girl. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Um, but sometimes we pick up our traits of our parents, whether we're workaholics or lazy or entitled. You know, my dad was a workaholic. My mom, she always wanted to be a doctor. She's from the Netherlands and graduated 15, 14 or 15. 14? I don't know, 14 or 15 years old, coming over at 11 and didn't know English, but she was still able to graduate a few years early. And that's okay. No, do it. Do it, doggy. No, please do. Doggy, doggy. Ruff, ruff. Ask me. Ask me. Ask me. And yeah. Well, let's test your theory. Ask me. I love um but yeah, I can see my lips are chapping. That's the only thing that's bugging me. It's my chapped lips. Um but there are parents who are horrible to their kids and uh yelling at them, not making them feel safe, being dismissive of them. Cleve says, I was not aware what a narcissist was when I was in my early partnerships. My second one, I suspect, was a narc. And my third one turned out to be a narc as well. Oh, gosh. And now I know what they are, a matter of education. And there are a lot of people that we're starting to see as narcissists. I do want to say that I've realized from some, you guys haven't hit that red flag for me, but there are some people where they don't want to accept what they've done. And they also don't want to accept that the other person doesn't like them, that they call them a narcissist. And that's because they're looking from within and they're not looking in that reverse mode. So I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but everybody is not a narcissist. Everybody has narcissist tendencies, and um, I think a little bit too much people. Not you guys, but people are like, oh, they broke up with me. They're a narcissist. But as far as the ghosting and not communicating properly. We suck at communicating nowadays. People don't even say please and thank you, the basics. Yeah, dog. Chap lips, you are likely. Can you see it? It's like, it looks all blotchy. Drink water, use Carmex or similar. I have a hydrating lip mask that helps. I will give you the name. Yes, because I've used chapstick um, like nonstop, talking so much. It almost looks like I have sores, and it's not. It's just I don't know what it looks like to you guys in the camera. That my lips are fine. They're just redder there, but they're dry. Lily said, Yeah, matter of education. Lately says that sounds familiar. Born with our own minds. My mom tried to put me down sometimes for those reasons, saying I never listen, blah, blah, blah. And then she would praise. Yeah. And sometimes that kind of stuff happens. It's like, whoa, I shouldn't have said that. But it still affects the person. It gets confusing, So your mom was probably trying to be supportive in that time, but that's the same as narcissistic outcomes. So Melissa is here. Hi, Melissa. We are waiting for Dog Defender to give us our question. Feel free to join in. Good to have you here. And I'm sure I'm dehydrated. I had probably 12 ounces of fluid today. It was a crazy day. Kalibi says, in these relationships, I felt alone. The second one claimed his libido is way too high. It didn't match mine. The third one did a lot of triangulation and cheating. Do you agree that the libido did not match? And yeah, the triangulation and cheating. And that's the thing though, like, you know, I have a high libido. If I don't like you, you ain't getting it. But if I really love someone, like that's not what's important. Um, you know, uh, yeah, it's hard. So you can dissect those relationships. Yeah, there's times we can look back. So Melissa, feel free to join in. Let us know how your day's going. We're happy to have you here. Lily says I had a lot of narc boyfriends that I just thought were dysfunctional and always soul searching at the time going through it. But now, no, they were nice. Oh, you can't. Okay. So on my camera, it looks like right here and here, it's like really red. So good. I'm glad I look normal. It just looked like red. John says, hi to Melissa Cleary. Yes, his libido was way too high that he invited strange men over without letting me know. And that's where it gets hard when they don't let you know. You can decide if you want an open relationship. Um, that's a sex addiction. I have high libido, but I'm not sleeping with anyone. I want my true person. I have a real high libido. I'm not sleeping with anyone. So it's an excuse, of poor self control. So regardless of his libido, sex, yeah, I'm sorry you went through that. Uh, they just don't want to exercise self control. Dog Defender says it's called Ginger Sugar Overnight Mask. I think it's from Amazon. There is what I believe is Chinese writing. So the name I cannot read. I could send it to my Chinese friend. She could tell me. She's over in Xiamen. John says in the past few days, this girl that gave me an attitude last year keeps trying to say hi to me when I run into her, but I suspect she's up to something. Does she just like hi, or does she try to talk to you? Kalibri, the third one, compared me to his last partner. That's hard. He told me that his last partner was very well endowed. I told him, lucky guy. That's not cool. Because a lot of guys, whether straight or gay, just like women with their boobs, I'm okay on mine. I have smaller boobs. Luckily, they're perfect. They're just small. But that's something we can't change. I mean, I know there are certain surgeries, but to make fun of somebody or put somebody down or compare somebody for something that they can't change is rendering you helpless. So now you want a bigger chest, smaller chest. Is like no matter what I do, I can't achieve that. And um, yeah, good, Calibri. So I'm glad you're okay. It is his problem. Yep. And it's interesting to me, like guys are like talking about how they got this big old winger. And I'm like for me, like I can't handle big, so it's just chill. Like, you have what you have, it'll be okay. You don't need this, I don't know, huge whatever. Uh that's somebody with baggage. It is, yeah. Um yeah, he's I don't know. And even he's focusing on the wrong thing. So even if his ex had this big old schlong, a long schlong, um, that's not what makes a person a good person, Uh, so he's probably more into the sexual stuff. Kalibi, did he connect with you emotionally, or was it more just a lot of fun and fooling around for the third one? Kalibi, and they didn't have an idea how they hurt me. And that's kind of my purpose with today's video about the parents. Do they love their children? They don't know what love is, and they're caught up in themselves that they can't see the child's needs. They can see, it's like somebody with needing glasses. I wear glasses. You can see the outline. You can see fuzzy images, but you don't see the full picture. And that's kind of like the narcissist, is they might see that the kid needs lunch because you know that. But they do a lot of punishments. Lily says that crazy psychiatrist I dated just 4 months compared me to his ex-girlfriend. It was so weird, especially somebody who's a psychiatrist. They should know. Like, don't do that. That messes with people. That is weird. And what did he say? Do you remember what he said, Lily? Okay, dog will be right back. Did anyone see the 5? Yes, I saw that. Yeah, we'll talk about that when you came back, and you will tell me what my question is. I was a black man that was killed by 5 black police officers over in Memphis. They did arrest them and charge them, so they're waiting trial. They're saying that it's worse than what happened to Rodney King, and you know, it's he lived for a little bit and died, I think 3 days later. Um, they were black police officers, so it's not necessarily racial, but you know, some people are afraid of the police, but the police are also afraid of society. I told you my ex is a state cop. I saw actual videos of him being shot at while in uniform, and you know, um, the unpredictability of people. It would have been nice if, I guess he kept asking what he was doing wrong, but the agitation and the fear sets off the cops, and the cops see it as something, and it's going to stimulate them. Sometimes people react to other people's actions. So, did that man, the 29-year-old, did he die because of him? It's because of other people setting precedents and causing triggers. Kalibi says the second one got in trouble during the height of AIDS. He frequented the bathhouse and he did get the virus. He died back in the early 1990s. I was there to support him. Wow. His supposed to be doctor boyfriend stayed away from him. A lot of people are afraid of that virus. And yeah. And that's the thing, like it's probably harder, and I don't know, but it's probably harder for gay men to um, find each other. It's probably easier now, but going to those bathhouses and is riskier behavior. So that's awesome. You were there to support them. The doctor, yeah, he. Hmm. He might not have been able to control himself or feel that the boyfriend would control themselves sexually, and he might have just been really afraid, just like people were really afraid of COVID. Lily, I put my hair up and he said, Joanne, the ex, used to do that and wear unflattering t-shirts, things like that. Just so weird. Yeah. He had mommy issues. He was so handsome and good in bed is why I didn't see. Yeah. I feel you, girl. Um, yeah, sometimes people they don't really think. Um, it's it's that connection that's still going on. I did that before in the beginning too of different relationships where it's like, ooh, shouldn't have said that. Sometimes people will do it for jealousy, and other times too, they, that hairstyle brings them back to the other person. So, are they in love with you? You know, and sometimes it's just talking about your experience. Like, yeah, somebody wore that hairstyle, so it's not necessarily even that he is still in love with her. Uh, but they don't see how it's going to affect somebody else, and that's the whole thing is they don't see how it's going to affect somebody else. There's no empathy there, because he could freaking hate Joanne, but remember that she puts her hair up, and um, yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure your hair looked cute. Kalibi says it's still an issue in the gay community. It's up to me to keep myself safe and follow the safety measures. Yeah, I don't know what the prevalence is now. They do have medications for it. You don't hear that much about HIV and AIDS anymore. Um, yeah, and I know it hit the gay community quite hard. I'm Dutch. It's kind of interesting the Dutch men that I've heard the study done. I don't know what it is with the women, but they were able to somehow get the uh, virus or whatever out of the lymph nodes, or it didn't go into the lymph nodes. So out of the entire world, the Dutch people are the tallest, but also, according to that research, not as prone to HIV. And you wonder what it is. Lily is why I put up with the weird. Yeah. He was 10 years older than me, so I fell for his image and looks. He was interesting, but cuckoo. Yeah. And can I ask you this? A lot of times, narcissists will go, it's almost like so classic textbook that they'll go 10 years younger or right around that amount, not 3, 4 years younger. It's pretty much a 10-year state. Did that cause any issues or was it okay? I don't know. A 10-year age difference, was that okay? Um, and it was only 4 months though, but was there any age generational? And it's half a generation. Kalibi says, I used to volunteer for the country doctor's clinic in Seattle. I used to attend to men who contracted STDs. That really opened my eyes. And when my mom was a nurse, I went to the hospital, and there's a 12-year-old boy who had it, and his belly was so bloated. It was, you know, like a heavier kid, like a 12-year-old who, uh, without being bloated, he probably should have weighed maybe around 90 pounds, and he weighed like 120, 130. But when he blew up, he was probably about 160. It was all belly. And he passed the next day. I remember praying for him. Um, that was hard for me to see, especially so young. Uh, Not saying that he was gay. I don't even know if he had sex, but sometimes you can get it in birth. Uh, it's up to you. Yeah, straight or gay. It's up to us to keep ourselves straight, not to trust the other person. There's so much lying. So if they tell you that they tested clean and they don't show it to you, doesn't mean that they are. Be careful too. People can get selfish and take that condom off, or why they even had it on, because the lights are off. Lily's said is why I put up with the weird. And he was 10 years older and cuckoo. Um, yeah, there's all different kinds of STDs too. What is it? Syphilis can make you lose your mind. Calibri says, I used to volunteer. Lily, yes, the Memphis. So sad. Different dynamic because all the cops were black too. So terrible. And I think there's a lot of fear. And also when that adrenaline kicks in, the blackout and Memphis can be a rough city. So were they predisposed to fear? Did they grow up in a hostile environment? And it's kind of sad that you see too, like if I start walking, you're going to start walking. If I'm at a red light with you and then I start walking, it's just kind of common nature that, did they join in or were they trying to fight for their cop buddy? And, were they necessarily bad cops? They had a bad situation. And adrenaline takes over and can affect thinking. And you don't always have the time, uh, in those kind of situations. So we'll learn more about those cops. But, uh, I talk about that female who I believe she got 2 years, the taser. She thought she had a taser and had the gun and killed the guy. She would have legally been allowed to do that, but she said taser and thought she had the different weapon, so she got jail time. Um, and if she didn't just have that mix up in her mind, she would have been okay. But adrenaline, can confuse you, and people. Uh, but that was a horrible beating. So you always liked older. You're very adaptable. Um, so you say, yeah, I always liked older, but did it cause any problems? Is that what they asked for? I don't think so. What did you like about the older? Dog Defender, good to have you back. Um, no need to apologize. We're just glad you're back. Tell me what you want to know. Kalibi says that last narc boyfriend that I had, unless that means best friend, good thing he was honest. He told me that he has herpes. Good that he's honest. I'd often use protection before anything else. He was the one who scared me. Um, how was that? That's nice that he was honest. Um, and is that what you were scared of, is catching herpes? That's really nice that he was honest with you, because that's something you can't change once you get it. Uh, so Dog says the dynamic is not always the racism, it's the dynamics of how they train police. I'm in a huge LE family, law enforcement family, and I'm sickened by their mindset. Um, yeah, when my first one went into the state police academy, he came out 4 months later, so different. And it's very mature, very good. That is a loving thing because he cared enough about you to allow you to let him go if you weren't comfortable with it. That's a strong person. So we need more people like that. And uh, Leah says, I think I like older because you think they're mature and real men, but often not. I'll agree with that. Dog says, just watch the video, not the body cams. Watch the street lamp view. There is no possible way anyone can say any of that was okay. No person or animal deserves to be treated that way by firearmed men. Yeah, John, no, I'm not. No, I'm not, John. Dog Defender. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I heard it was horrendous, worse than the Rodney King. His mother stated that his neck was broken, his lips were in the shape of an S, his head was the size of a watermelon. And I did see pictures of him. Yeah, it sounds like he was bludgeoned, and he was asking, oh, um, I just want to go home. I just want to go home, crying out for his mom. Um, and Kalibi says he's the one who stonewalled me for no reason. I forgave him several times. Then, when he stayed over one night, he sat in a dark corner with just the light of his phone shining on his face. Huh. Do you think he had issues with being gay? Or do you think it was more than that? I don't know. There's probably more to it, though. Do you know what he was doing on his phone? A lot of times, I don't know. John says it's doing it again. I was saying that girl only said hi to me. P. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, your phone's acting up again. We need to get John a new phone. Lily says, but unlike the last one with George Floyd with Chauvin being white. Yeah. And yeah. That's the thing is I don't think it's racially motivated in this one. Um I mean, it still could be. It still could be because you know, and this is going to sound messed up. They were black cops, okay? Uh that you look at my degrees in criminal justice, and you look at the percentage. And my statistics are old from when I went to school. But it's like 14% of the United States is African American or black, and the amount of criminals, 14% black, but like 36% of the criminals, unless it was more than that. But either way, it's disproportional. And uh maybe even though they're police officers or like black man, putting the stigmatism on the black man, even though they're one of them. So could they have been harsher on him? Uh, um, so did Chauvin appeal? Is there something going on with Chauvin? Um, this Kalibi says this guy wanted to be admired of his size. Oh, he loves it. He has not came out to any of his siblings. Oh, hmm. And yeah, he still needs approval from others. That's got to be hard, though. That does. Some people are like, I just don't want to justify it. I don't want them trying to talk me out of it. Um, and that's, the hardest thing is sometimes letting somebody be who they want to be instead of trying to change them into who you want to be. So that's why it was really sweet of my friend to allow, uh, and allow is not the right word, but allow her daughter to be herself without trying to change her. Dog says it's the worst thing I've ever seen. He died because of bleeding out, crying for his mom. He watched it together in a group in slow motion. We watched it. I was shaken to the core. I still have nightmares about George Floyd. Um, yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't. As far as bleeding out, like the bludgeoning and all that stuff has to be horrendous. When I had my miscarriage, I was bleeding out 45 minutes from dying. I know it's a whole different situation, but that was the most peaceful I ever was. So I don't know if going that way, I don't know, with all the pain and everything, the fear. Yeah, I don't know. You just, I don't know. I see that the mom she was able to watch it or something, and I think she opted out of it by the way she was talking. That yeah, she's begging people, if you have children, don't let them watch it. Um, and I don't think I want to watch it because it sounds extremely barbaric. And yeah, I agree with you, Lily. How did you see it, Doug? Dog. Kalibi says, I think, and ask me your question. Dog says, I think there's more to his sexual relationships. I think he is bisexual. Yeah, he could be. It seems like he just wants sex. That's his way of feeling loved. Shulman got 21 years, always appeal with a guilty verdict, but won't be overturned. Yeah, I think I don't know what he would get them to change. So, yeah. I can't remember where he was from. Um, Nebraska. I don't know. The actual video, they did release it. I have CNN, even though I am not, I am Minnesota. Okay. I knew it was out that way. He, Kalibi says he mentioned about his female caretaker. He had a heart attack last year. He mentioned how she really took care of him well. From there, saw the changes in his personality. Okay. Could be. Could be. I saw the changes in my student's personality with the Chuck E. Cheese. People, it's interesting too, like when somebody's in love with somebody, how they can change. Um, that they get fixated on the person or they conform and change into this other person. Is that a symptom or sign of mental illness? Where, uh, you know, um, you think that they're somebody and all of a sudden they're a football fan and all kinds of things like that. So, guys, I'm still not feeling too good. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys I love you. Sorry, I'm going to sign off, but yeah, I don't feel too good today. Definitely got the kid virus at school. But thank you guys for the open, honest communication. I will log in tomorrow. We'll plan on 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Does that sound okay to you guys? And topic requests are welcome. Feel free to tell me what you guys want to talk about tomorrow. If not, I will create something for you guys. So lots of love and sleep good. Have a good night, guys. And I do this every time. I'm stuck. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, sorry. I do need to get some rest. So lots of love, guys. See you soon. I'm about to get some. Yes, salt water. Ooh, I'll have something salty. I'll have some French fries. Lots of love. Yes, I went to nursing school. You're right. Hot tea and honey, I can do that. So yeah, I'd rather have a sore throat than gurgle with that. It's okay. See you guys. Don't forget to ask me that question. See you soon. Good night.